Hey guys, welcome back on Paintivity, and today, of course, as promised, I am continuing the Cinderella phenomenon, chapter 8, which is still about Rod, I guess, or at least that's how it's titled when I get into it. I'm going to see how much I can get through today, mostly just out of sheer willpower. I've been up for over 24 hours now, so I look like a mess, I feel like a mess. It's just been quite a weird day, but excuse me, that's not the point. The point is I'm going to hopefully read through this without screwing everything up since I'm tired. And we'll just see what happens because this chapter is all about the ball. And I'm terrified to see exactly what's going to happen. Like, I think we're starting to get to that point in the story where we're starting to wrap things up, perhaps. And so yeah, here we are. It's the day of the ball, and I'm waiting for Emmeline to finish her last dance rehearsal. The lesson was over an hour ago, but Emmeline remains here to continue practicing the steps. Meanwhile, I'm preoccupied with thoughts of Rod's curse. I can't believe that Rod traded his voice for a title, so the reason that King was able to find Ophelia was because of Rod. It's a little difficult to wrap my head around the implications, but one thing bothers me. Rod told me why he has a curse, but he gave no explanation as to how to break it. How did it go in the original fairy tale? Emmeline finishes up the last steps of her routine before walking over to me. I hand her the glass of water I was holding for her. Thank you. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, I tend to leave the name Paintivity out of it because it sounds so funny for me to like say it. So that, and I'm hoping you're like, sorry, reading between the lines as well, or listening between the lines, whatever. I don't know, it's just weird for me to say, so if you're wondering why I skip over that, that tends to be the reason why. That, and I didn't want to be so correct, I guess, when I read, like, I cannot do this or whatever. It doesn't come out that way for me. So, there's that. Emmeline must notice my curiosity because she stops to look at me quizzically. Is something the matter? I read a little bit of that fairy tale but never finished it. Can you tell me the whole story of the Little Mermaid? Raise your hand if you've seen the Little Mermaid. Raise your hand if you know the actual story of the Little Mermaid. I do, I don't know it as well though. The Little Mermaid? Emmeline takes a seat on one of the chairs bordering the throne room and gestures for me to take the one opposite her. Telling a fairy tale is always a good way to wind down. Once upon a time there was a mermaid that fell in love with a handsome prince. One day when she swam to the surface of the ocean to find him, she saw that the prince was celebrating his birthday on the grandest ship in the kingdom. The Little Mermaid was captivated by the human party and stayed to watch. Then suddenly a violent storm hit and the prince was thrown from the ship into the ocean. The Little Mermaid saved the prince and took him safely to shore, but she could not stay long. She eventually had to return to the ocean and leave him on land. This is similar to Viorica's rescue. The Little Mermaid was so in love with the prince that she went to see a witch who offered to trade her a potion that would turn her mermaid tail into legs. They struck a deal. The mermaid would sacrifice her beautiful voice for legs so that she could live with the prince on land. So in Rod's case, he traded away his voice to become a prince. However, the Sea Witch gave the Little Mermaid a warning, and said that if she wasn't able to make the prince fall in love with her, there would be consequences. Consequences? Yes, namely if the prince fell in love and married someone else, the mermaid's heart would break and she would dissolve into sea foam. I can't help but recoil. My expression must betray my horror because Emmeline quickly shakes her head. There's no need to be worried. Rod has said that his curse is different from the fairy tale. And you believe him? Emmeline shrugs helplessly. She puts down her now empty glass of water. The fairy tale curse always twists the original fairy tale, right? Besides, it's not as if Rod traded his voice for legs, and I've never heard of a cursed person that dies because they can't break their curse. That may be true, but Emmeline doesn't know what Rod traded his voice for. She doesn't know that he did it to become a prince for Viorica. Rod's already hiding things from her. Is it possible that Rod will die the day Viorica marries Desmond? I thought his name was Decimon. Huh, that was different. Later that day, I find Rod in the dining hall. He appears to be inspecting the seating arrangements for the night's banquet. He glances up briefly to look at me before returning his attention to the placards with the guest names on them. What is it? I've been looking for you all morning. I'm distracted from what I'm about to say when I notice Rod switching the position of two placards. I frown as I catch the name on one of them. He's moving Viorica's place at the table. Is he trying to make sure she sits as far away from him as possible? Surely you have better things to do than stay in here. What happens if you can't break your curse? Rod's movements stutter before he shakes his head sharply. That's something you don't need to know. I don't think getting angry with him is going to help. He tends to be a hothead. I'm going to plead. Something aches deep in my chest at Rod's coldness. Please. Rod startles so strongly that he almost drops the placards he's holding. Please tell me. We've been partners for months now. But I've barely... Yes, I know that it's an unusual partnership and that most of our helping each other has been subtle, but I'm only one good deed away from breaking my curse, while you seem to be no closer to breaking your curse than when we started. I'll do whatever I can to help you with your curse, Rod. Yay, I made the right choice. It says, crystal in the upper right corner indicates that you've made the right choice for a particular love interest. Each color corresponds to a certain love interest. They also appear belatedly after you make a choice, so keep your eyes and ears open. Okay. I've noticed a couple of them, but I don't remember what I did. Okay. Interesting. Alright, so please let me help you. Silence falls. Moments later, Rod sighs and looks away from me. Some unspeakably sad emotion shines through his eyes. Even if I wanted your help, Paintivity, there's nothing you can do. Dread settles in the pit of my stomach at Rod's words. Could I be right? Will Rod actually die if he does not manage to break his curse? Emmeline told me the story of the Little Mermaid. She said that the mermaid dies if the prince marries someone else. Rod, when Viorica marries Decimon, will you... My voice trails off when I hear the sound of the door behind us. Is it Ophelia or the king? Rod rushes forward and grabs me before I can glance back at the door. Ow! I become aware of a weight holding me down to the floor. The impact of the ground against my head blurs my vision, making it impossible for me to see what's happening at first. Am I underneath the dining table? I struggle to try and sit up, but the weight pushes down on me again, forcing me to be still. Quiet. Rod? Why did he push me underneath the table? I'm about to ask him aloud when the sound of footsteps silences me. I can't help but remember what Sir Mithros was saying about rumors. If Rod and I were seen alone together by the servants, the rumors will no doubt get worse. But why is Rod doing this? I stay quiet as the people that enter the dining hall begin to talk. How strange for this place to be empty at this time of day. There's a pause, and then another voice speaks up. You better have good news for me, Mithros. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros? Rod's hands tighten on my shoulders. Everything's as you requested, Sir Alcaster. There should be no issues. There better not be. You've disappointed me before, Mithros. I would be careful not to try my patience again. Yes, Sir Alcaster. Sir Mithros sounds oddly subservient. But why? The two of them are both ranked equally, and neither of them should have to answer to anyone other than the king. Unless Sir Alcaster truly is the witch and is forcing Sir Mithros to obey him with a spell. Wait a few minutes after I leave. We should not be seen together. I do not hear Sir Mithros respond, but I can hear Sir Alcaster leaving the room. Sir Mithros sighs out, but is otherwise silent when he leaves the room after a few moments. I exhale fully as the door finally closes behind Sir Mithros. This is bad. I was so engrossed in Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros' conversation that I had only now just realized that Rod is hovering over me. Not great. More awkwardness. But Sebi's so cute. Hey, are you alright? Are you hurt? You look a little... Rod suddenly pauses as he notices our position. He stares at me for a few moments, eyes wide. He scrambles out from underneath the dining table, and by the time I do the same, he's standing far away from me, his gaze fixed on the wall. He's bright red. It would be funny if I weren't sure I was in the same color. Rod clears his throat. It seems that Sir Alcaster really is the witch. Really is the witch if he has the ability to make Sir Mithros obey him. Lady Parfait should be told immediately. Rod turns on his heel to leave the dining room. Rod, wait. What? This is urgent, Princess. I can't just... When Viorica marries Decimon, will you die? Rod pauses for a moment, but I can tell from his pained expression that he will not speak. You're running out of time, Rod. My eyes flit between Sebi and Rod. What does that mean? Nothing. He turns away from me once again and starts walking away. Rod. There must be something in my voice that makes Rod stop, because he turns to look at me. Please stop running away from this. Well, what would knowing the answer achieve, Paintivity? Though Rod's words are harsh, his tone is soft. There's nothing anyone can do. Leave it alone. It's for the best. I can't help but get mad at Rod's dismissive tone. I move toward him, frowning. How can you say something like that? You're not the only person that will be affected if you keep refusing to do anything to break your curse. Can you imagine what your death would do to your sister, to your mother? Losing you would destroy them. Rod's face is suddenly inches away from mine. He places his hands to the wall behind me, caging me in. His face is flushed with anger, but the look in his eyes is tormented. My family's been dealing with the consequences of my actions for the majority of my life. Don't think that I don't know what effect my curse has on the people closest to me. Besides, I don't want to involve you in this too. His voice is a whisper, but I can still hear his words. Rod pushes away from me and stalks off as I stare at him. He says that, but then he still does nothing to try and break his curse. I don't understand him at all. What is stopping him? Maybe it's paintivity that breaks the curse. You ever thought of that? Rod's absent from the palace for the rest of the day and returns only once the sun is set to prepare for the ball. I've not been able to talk to him since, but I assume that he's been to the March Inn to tell Delora and Parfait about our suspicions of Sir Alcaster being a witch. I hope they come up with an effective plan for dealing with him. The palace is not safe so long as he's here. The ball is just about to start that evening, and I've been asked to make sure none of the guests are lost in wandering the hallways. I've been walking around for a while, directing any late guests in the right direction. That should be everyone. But as I turn the corner, I notice two people lingering by a column. Excuse me, the throne room is... I pause when I look more closely at the two men in front of me. I recognize one of them instantly. What is Sir Alcaster doing outside the throne room, and who's that man he's with? Really? You can't tell? Ah, paintivity. Sir Alcaster gestures me toward him, and I approach warily. This is Varg. He's one of the guests for the ball. Really? Varg, huh? Looks like Mithros to me. Varg sweeps aside his cape as he bows, and I curtsy and dip my head to hide my expression. I've not heard of a Varg, and why would he be bowing to a mere maid? Also, why is he wearing such an elaborate costume and mask? This is not a masquerade ball. If Varg is an acquaintance of Sir Alcaster, there's no telling what or who he truly is. Varg is one of the suitors for the Princess Emmeline. Would you please escort him to the throne room? I'll be along shortly. Varg's politeness is even more suspicious. Of course. Sir Alcaster. I meet Varg's gaze briefly and can't help but frown at the way he's smirking at me. This way. Varg and I make our way toward the throne room. I can't help but feel wary of the fact that he's following behind me where I can't see him. If the maids are this lovely, the princess must be truly beautiful. Varg laughs and I grit my teeth at the sound. What? It was meant as a compliment. There's no need to look at me like that. Varg looks at me curiously. Are maids not allowed to speak in this place? I have nothing to say. Not the most cheerful person on staff, are you? Thankfully, the doors to the throne room appear as soon as we turn a corner, and I don't have to come up with a response to his words. We're here. I gesture toward the throne room and move to leave, but Varg's voice stops me. You should at the very least escort me inside and introduce me to the princess, don't you think? Isn't that what a maid should do? Technically, that is the announcer's job. But Varg came so late he probably already missed the introductions. I wouldn't want to think badly of any of the servants at the palace. I take a deep breath to calm myself down before turning toward the doors. Follow me. This ought to be good. I can tell the moment I step into the room that the official introductions have already passed. Most of the guests have already begun to mingle and scatter across the throne room as the band sets up. No one notices when I walk into the throne room in front of Varg. I do not trust Varg, not if he's associated with Sir Alcaster. I might have time to warn someone about him while he's distracted, but who? I'd warn Rod first. Because Emmeline's going to be too... and that seemed like such a quick decision, but she's going to be too distracted with everything else that's going on. Technically the day's about her, so he may not be as busy. My eyes fall on Rod. I notice that he's leaning against one of the walls away from the crowds. I head directly for him, moving quickly so that Varg is not right behind me. Rod. Rod frowns at me as I come to stand in front of him. What? There's a man here called Varg. I think Sir Alcaster brought him. Sir Alcaster? Apparently Varg is one of the suitors for Emmeline's hand. Rod glances past me at Varg, his eyes narrowed. Is that him? Is that Varg? When I turn back and follow his line of sight, I almost gasp in shock. Varg is bent over one of Emmeline's hands, clearly having just pressed a kiss to the back of it. You should have kept him away from Em. But Rod and I are not too far away, so we can hear him clearly, but the throne room is already hushed at the sight of the crown princess being so boldly, directly addressed. May I have the first dance, Your Highness? I feel sick, but can't bring myself to say anything more as Emmeline puts her hand in Varg's. I accept, Lord Varg. The moment Emmeline makes her way to the center of the dance floor, a man signals to the band and the musicians start playing. This feels wrong. I can only nod as I watch Varg pull Emmeline closer. At first, it's just he and Emmeline dancing, but then other couples gradually trickle in to join them. I don't like this at all. Rod and I watch in silence as the first dance continues on. I know for a fact that Rod must see the dreamy smile on Emmeline's face, as certainly I can. When the music stops, both of us move as one toward Emmeline. Even though the dance is over and Varg has released her, they still stand close together in the center of the room. The silence is interrupted when the double doors open and Sir Alcaster, along with 2 knights, stalk into the center of the room where Emmeline and Varg stand. Their arrival causes an uneasy stir in the crowds. The king rises from his throne, eyebrows drawn. Alcaster, is there some kind of disturbance? Alcaster says nothing as the knights stationed around the room approach Emmeline and Varg and stand around them, encircling them. Emmeline's expression shifts from confusion to fear. The crowd becomes even more anxious. Alcaster, explain this. Alcaster briefly glances at him but says nothing. He turns back to his knights and snaps his fingers. The knights pull out their swords and point them at Emmeline. Em! I reach out to grab Rod's hand before he can make his way toward her. Rod, it's too dangerous. I know, but thoughtless actions have the potential to put Emmeline in even more danger. Rod's only response is to tighten his grip on my hand. I place my other hand over his to reassure him. Slowly but surely his grip begins to loosen. I turn my gaze back to the king. Alcaster, stop this immediately. What do you think you're doing? Something I should have done a long time ago. I kind of wonder if Em might be the witch, but I doubt that's likely. I've been nothing but loyal to this kingdom, and all I've ever wanted was for Angeal to thrive. But ever since the queen died, this kingdom has become weak. It's because you are a weak ruler, Gennaro. What? The people were more productive back then, more disciplined during the late queen's reign. The kingdom has become less productive without fear to drive them. When there's power, there is order. This is very Machiavellian, by the way, if you know what that is. Power is not something that should be needlessly used to control people. It's used to protect them. You, of all people, should know that. Sir Alcaster shakes his head. I, of all people, know that order is what makes a hierarchy stronger. I'm only doing what's necessary. I am reorganizing the system. Hand over the crown, Gennaro. Sir Alcaster turns his head to Varg, who remains standing beside a scared Emmeline. You will obey me if you do not want your precious daughter harmed. Please, leave my daughter out of this. Emmeline steps back, her eyes now brimming with tears. Varg, seize the princess. It's actually Mithros, I'm telling you. It's gotta be him. As soon as Sir Alcaster gives the order, Rod immediately lets go of my hand and rushes towards his sister. Rod, no! I quickly follow after him, but Rod suddenly stops in his tracks. I bumped abruptly into his back. Rod? Varg! Sir Alcaster's booming voice echoes around the room, which has suddenly gone eerily silent. My eyes move to Varg, but he's standing motionless. What's happening? Finally, Varg smirks. He steps to the side, standing in front of Emmeline, as if to block her from view. Sir Varg. You must be delusional, old man. I'm not letting you anywhere near the princess. The knight's next movements are a blur as they rush at Sir Alcaster. In mere moments, he's been disarmed and pinned to the ground. Several more knights have also appeared from behind to surround Sir Alcaster. A man emerges from in between the circle of knights. He moves to stand beside Varg and Emmeline. I freaking knew it. Sir Mithros looks at Alcaster disdainfully. What is the meaning of this, Mithros? We had a deal. The anger is now palpable in Sir Alcaster's flushed face. Did we now? Mithros, explain yourself. Mithros drops to one knee in front of the king. Of course, your majesty. He raises his head slightly to look at the king. I've known for a long while that the man you see before you is a traitor. I was even aware of his plans, but I couldn't tell you of them without any evidence. 2 of your knights had tried to inform you of these plans before, but we all looked down on them with disdain. I had to make sure that I didn't come unprepared like they did. Jurian and Garland? What? Both of them knew of Sir Alcaster's plans? Was that the reason why they were dishonorably discharged for false accusations? I knew enough of his plans that I could thwart it. This is why I thought the best way to reveal his dastardly ways was to craft a fake alliance with him. Sir Varg and I have been working together to unravel Alcaster's plans, Your Majesty. Varg is an invaluable accomplice. Wait, so Sir Mithros has been pretending to work with Alcaster this whole time? And so we arrive at the events of tonight. I apologize for undertaking this task without seeking your counsel, Your Majesty. But I could think of no better way to end this madness once and for all. You lying snake. Sir Mithros stands and turns to Alcaster. He gestures at him dismissively. Seize him. The knight's next movements are a blur. The men rush Sir Alcaster all at once, and in mere moments Sir Alcaster's been disarmed and is now pinned to the ground. Isn't Sir Alcaster a witch? Why is he not using his magic? Mithros, I'm indebted to you for saving us. The whole kingdom is. I only did what was necessary, Your Majesty. The king glances at the knights, then at Sir Alcaster, his gaze steely. Take him away. Sir Alcaster struggles uselessly against the knights as they drag him away. He's nearly out the door when he starts screaming at the king. Gennaro, you're a fool. That man is a witch, a snake. You can't trust him. No, Alcaster, I was wrong to put my trust in you. Even as Sir Alcaster is pulled from the room, we can hear him babbling in the hallways about a witch. Sir Alcaster never used any magic to escape. Was he truly not a witch? Are you all right, Princess? See, now I'm really confused. I'm pulled from my thoughts when I hear Varg's voice. He's now trying to comfort a shaken Emmeline. For a few moments he looks away and his eyes meet mine. He smiles, but it's fleeting, and moments later his attention is back on Emmeline. Sorry, I don't know if you guys noticed that little, tapping in the background. There was, a woodpecker outside my window, and I'm like, stop, you're annoying me, you're ruining this. But anyway, back to what we were saying. Yay! New chapter? No. The ball comes to an abrupt end after Alcaster's stunned. He's thrown into a jail cell and promised a trial after a few days' time where he'll be tried for treason against the kingdom. I still can't believe Sir Alcaster would do something like that, and so brazenly, too. I wonder, what happened to Sir Fitzgerald? They say he vanished completely last night. Do you think he was working with his father? The truth is that I have no idea what to think. I had thought that I had everything figured out, but now I've become more and more confused by the moment. Fritz was always loyal to a fault, but then Sir Alcaster was the same way with the king, and I've not seen or heard of Fritz for weeks. I can't really say. Ah, good morning, Princess Emily. Sir Varg. Varg was offered a room at the palace for a few days' visit. He's being treated as Sir Mithros' valued guest. I've heard from the other servants that he is Sir Mithros' relative who lives in a neighboring kingdom. I hope that you're feeling well now, Princess. Yes, thank you for your help last night. Is Emmeline blushing? I know I won't be here long, but I do hope to get to know you better during the duration of my stay. I would love that. Then I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. Oh, I forgot that I'm meant to be in my mother's room right now. Paintivity, Sir Varg, I'll see you both later. I curtsy as Emmeline walks off, leaving me alone with Varg. I can't help but feel uneasy in his presence. Something about him puts me on edge. He makes me feel uncomfortable. Excuse me, I have errands to attend to. Wait. Before you head out, I have something to give you. Give me? Varg reaches into one of his pockets and withdraws a letter that he holds out to me. Ooh, I want to know what's in it. What is this about? Well, I guess you'll have to open it and find out, Princess. My blood turns to ice in my veins. He knows I'm the princess. That could only mean that I have no idea what you're talking about. Excuse me. I'm about to leave when Varg suddenly grabs my wrist. The play is just about to start, Princess. You have a responsibility as the main character to perform impeccably until the very end. Otherwise, well... He grins at me. It's the same wolfish smile that he flashed at me during the ball. You might miss out on your fairy tale ending. What? Before I can say anything else, I feel a hand grip my other arm. Someone tugs me back and away from Varg, then comes to stand in front of me. Let me guess, it's Rod. Stay away from her. Rod? Varg looks at Rod, then at me, his smile growing more crooked. What an interesting turn of events. I wonder how this will end for the both of you. I'm not gonna say anything. No answer, Let him think what he wants. Be in denial all you want. At the end of the day, you're going to have to decide who and what you will choose. Who or what to choose? Silence, you're harassing one of our staff members. Excuse me. Of course, I apologize for my rude behavior, Your Highness. You seem to know a lot about us. Are you a... I lower my voice. Are you a witch? You're asking the wrong person, Princess. He knows who you really are? I think you two are worrying too much about me. After all, I'm just a pawn in this game. Varg dips into an elegant bow and flashes one last smile before walking away. Are you alright? I am. Thank you for helping me. You know I'd do anything for you. What? What? Rod shakes his head before stepping away. Anything. For me? Rod coughs, pulling me from the thought. It is possible that he is a witch or that he's working with other witches, but we have no evidence to prove it. Until we figure out what's going on, you need to be wary of him. I know. Rod smiles at me gently. The look makes my heart thud once, painfully in my chest. Stop staring at me like that. Rod looks away, his cheeks tinged red. I feel my own cheeks warm at the sight. I wasn't staring at all. Both of you are hopeless. Shut up, Sebi. Rod gives me one last look before finally turning and walking away. I place my hand over my chest where I can still hear my thudding heartbeat. This feeling. If it is what I think it is, then I have no right to feel that way about him. He's my stepbrother. I shake my head to clear the thought, then glance down at the letter that Varg just delivered to me. There's only one sentence written on it. Come to the throne room alone tonight. Well, when? Details, people. I think I'm going to continue. I'm going to do part of chapter 9 as well, which is actually the wedding. The throne room is empty when I arrive. I can only hope that this is not some sort of trap. Soon after I enter, the door squeaks open and a familiar face enters the room. Sir Mithros? Mithros walks towards me. When he's close enough, he drops to one knee and bows. I frown as I take a step back from him. My princess, do not be alarmed. I know of your true identity. Mithros flashes me a wide smile that causes a shudder to run down my spine. You know who I am, then that means that you're... I take another step back as the blood drains from my face. Mithros' smile only widens at my reaction. I'll say it for you. Yes, I'm a witch. Called it. If you're a witch, then Sir Alcaster is a mere human, a fool one. And Varg? Nothing but my personal errand boy. A thought suddenly occurs to me. If Sir Alcaster was plotting against the kingdom, then did Sir Mithros also punish Fritz somehow? What about Fritz? Was he a part of Sir Alcaster's plans? Ah, the knight. To avoid confusing you, let us just say that the situation surrounding him is too complicated to adequately explain. I command you answer my question, Sir Mithros. Was Fritz a part of this? If it makes you feel any better, he refused to be a part of this. He refused? Does that mean he was not a part of the plans, or just that he was unwillingly forced to participate in them? I'm certain that Sir Alcaster would not be happy that his own son was disobeying him. He either forced him to help, or assigned him outside of the palace. But if Fritz knew of Sir Alcaster's plans, why did he not warn anyone about them? Was he working with Sir Mithros as well? More questions swirl in my head, but none of them have answers. When this is over, I'll personally ask Fritz about this, once I can locate him. I shake the thoughts away and bring my attention back to Sir Mithros. Why bother with this reveal? What do you hope to gain from it? Before we start our conversation... Ah, crap. Did I just get cursed again? Sir Mithros waves his hand, conjuring a faint green glow that envelops the whole room. Just in case someone decides to eavesdrop, I wouldn't want any of your witch friends listening in on us. Yes, I'm aware that one of them has been snooping around the palace these past few months. Their snooping has made it more difficult to move around without exposing myself. Sir Mithros clicks his tongue in annoyance. Such a nuisance. He's referring to Delora. She and Parfait warned me before that there was a witch in the palace. Is Sir Mithros truly that witch? I never really trusted him, not even when I was a princess. Now that he's revealed himself as a witch, I need to know what he plans on doing. You knew that I was the princess this entire time, yet you never offered me any assistance? If I had, Alcaster would have targeted you as well. What? Alcaster wanted to dispose of the royal family. If he had known you were the princess, he would have been after you too. It would have been easier with no one remembering you as the princess. But unfortunately, Fritz told his father about you, thinking the outcaster might be able to help and protect you, and it didn't help that Varg confirmed it. Your mother wouldn't have been happy with me if I put you in harm's way. That's why I had to pretend not to know you in order to protect you. Sir Mithros is silent for a few moments before he speaks again. Revealing myself to be a witch was necessary. I had to make myself appear useful to Outcaster somehow, after all. Then, of course, I learned of his foolish plans to steal the crown and decided to thwart them, though not before I stole something from Outcaster first. I played him like the fool that he was. I told him I would aid him with my magic so long as he gave me the knight's protection. Using magic is almost impossible in this place, so having the knights to back me up was crucial. The knights? What does he need the knights' protection for? What are his plans? Sir Mithros starts pacing the room, his expression still calm. I found out that he planned to dispose of me after he obtained what he needed, so I disposed of him first. Outcaster might have been able to convince most of the knights to aid him by promising them promotions, but, well, my magic is far more convincing. Mithros stops in front of me, his deadpan expression transforming into a smile. For now, let us desist speaking of my plans. The minute Outcaster's plans were thwarted, I knew I had to contact you directly. I'm happy to see you in the palace, Your Highness. Although, we really need to get you out of those clothes soon. A maid's clothing does not befit a princess like yourself. That doesn't matter. My priority right now is to break my curse. Ah, of course, they must truly have been frightened to feel the need to curse you. I feel an uncomfortable tug in my heart. To think that the Lucis Bearer would actually allow a witch to curse you? Sir Mithros shakes his head, disgust written on his features. When you suddenly disappeared that day, it was as if all traces of your existence had vanished. I searched for you endlessly, Princess. When you first appeared here in the palace, I didn't recognize you immediately, but I felt a touch of magic in you and investigated. My curiosity is what prompted me to investigate you further. When I tried hard enough, I found that I could see through the glamour that had been cast on you. So, Sir Mithros truly was the witch Parfait was referring to when she mentioned someone seeing through the glamour. Imagine my surprise when I found out it was actually you. That fairy bearer has been nothing but a nuisance to us witches. First she betrayed your mother, and then she betrayed you before she had even met you. But Mother, she was the Tenebrae bearer corrupted by darkness. Parfait only did what she had to do. Sir Mithros looks at me clearly surprised. What lies have those people been whispering in your ear? Everything the Queen did, she did for us witches to protect us from the wicked humans who destroyed our kind. It's clear to me where Sir Mithros' alliances lie. Sir Mithros sighs, runs a hand through his hair, and then continues speaking. On your 18th birthday, you will follow her footsteps. You will make this kingdom a place for all witches to prosper. I'm nothing like her. I refuse to make people suffer to fuel the crystal. I never bore witness to the suffering the people had to go through during my mother's reign, but the stories are enough to reveal her true nature to me. It was hard to believe at first, but those people don't have any reason to lie to a servant like myself. They have nothing to gain from it. I finally understand why the hatred people had for me ran so deep even when I did nothing to them. It was because I was the witch's daughter. Your mother wouldn't be happy to hear you say that. Let me assure you that this is not a destiny you can run from, dear princess. I will not let destiny take control of my life. I feigned tiredness by releasing a long yawn. I'm sorry for cutting you short, Sir Mithros, but please excuse me, I'm getting tired. I'm about to walk past Sir Mithros when he starts speaking again, his voice a low whisper. I notice that you've gotten closer to the family you so despised before, the prince included. I narrow my eyes at him. You care about him, don't you? I must confess that this surprises me, Princess. Such a relationship would certainly be a scandal, even if you two are not blood related. He's still your stepbrother. Whatever will your dear father say about this? I clench my fists. He has no right to lecture me. I already know that these feelings are wrong. I know that I can't have them. I assure you that there's nothing between the both of us. Oh, is that so? Are those lies you utter just to convince yourself? This man is beginning to try my patience. Allow me to share a little secret with you, Princess. I'm not interested. I head for the door and reach for the knob. Oh, but I think it is something you would be most curious about. I do, after all, know the consequences of the prince failing to break his curse. I also happen to know that someone special to him is getting married tomorrow. My hand freezes. How do you know about all of this? I know all of the happenings around this place. That is my job, princess. Now tell me, do you know the ending of the fairy tale The Little Mermaid? My blood runs cold when I remember what Emmeline told me about the fairy tale. If the prince fell in love and married someone else, the Little Mermaid's heart would break and she would dissolve into sea foam. I conducted my own investigation and actually met the witch who bestowed the curse on the prince. In meeting her, I found out everything that there is to know about it. I turned to regard Mithros with a frown. Ah, it seems I've finally gotten your attention. What do you plan on doing to Rod? Sir Mithros shrugs. To him? Nothing, really. I was merely curious. I wanted to know what you saw in him. What do you know about his curse? It stays true to the fairy tale, only in this case the prince gives up his voice for a title. Still, it'll end the same way. The girl will fall in love with someone else despite his sacrifice. You mean, on his beloved's wedding day, the prince will die. I thought you might have reached the same conclusion. Tragic, don't you think? I had the same thought, but is Rod truly going to die? So the reason Rod gave up breaking his curse was because he knew that Viorica would never love him back? He knew that he was going to die the moment Viorica married. Dread begins to wash over me. Why not ask him yourself? As if orchestrated by magic, the double doors open and Rod steps inside. When he sees me, his expression relaxes. No. I've been looking all over for you. I wanted to speak with you about my discussion with Lady Parfait. I turned around to face Sir Mithros once again, but to my surprise, he's already gone. When did Sir Mithros leave? Paintivity, is something wrong? Was Sir Mithros really speaking the truth? Ouch. I don't know if I should confront him or ask him. Let's confront him. Is this how you really want things to end? What are you talking about? Have you even thought about what your family will feel after they find out that you lied about your curse? You're going to die when Viorica gets married tomorrow, am I right? That's why you told me that there's nothing I could do to help you break your curse. Because there really is nothing you can do to help me. Viorica will never return my love. I already accepted my fate a long time ago. Lady Parfait was the only one who insisted I find another way to break my curse. Because she refuses to give up on you, and I won't give up on you either. Alright, so the dogs are anxious. I'm going to stop right there. Just so they don't interrupt this any further. Hopefully you're enjoying it. I'm super tired, so I'm going to go to bed now. Yeah, I don't know. We're getting really close to the end, and Mithros is bad, and you kind of knew that from the beginning, but they threw in so many people. Yeah, we'll figure out what Rod has to say about this soon enough, as in, like, you know, tomorrow. So, thank you guys for sticking in there with me. I hope you liked it. It was a little bit longer than I planned, but hopefully you're enjoying it nonetheless. And yeah, my dogs provided some good background noise for you guys, beyond the music, that is. So if you like it, let me know. Hit the button. If you have something to say, leave a comment for me, or a suggestion, or thoughts, or anything, whatever you want to put there. And heck, I don't care. If you want to get a hold of me on Twitter, do that too. And I will talk to you guys soon. So as always, thanks for joining the universe. Bye.
Okay. Oh, that's creepy. Oh, it's me.